You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
Verifying integrity, verifying integrity.
The wasteland is a host of apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, frozen atomic waves. From deep within the core, frozen atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 496th edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined by a flock of my favorite Fallout folks. Tonight, I've got Jess. What's up, Jess?
Hey, Andrew. Creeps, everybody.
And also Ray. What's up, Ray?
Yeah, hello.
And also returning longtime guest and feedback participant, Sulior. What's going on, sir? How are you today? Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always great time whenever I can hang out with y'all.
Absolutely. Welcome. So off the top here, we'll get into our gameplay with lots of weird three-letter acronyms. I don't know, Jess and Eric are fighting in the notes somehow. We got a Fallout Top 5 from Will is back with the top 5 things you didn't know about Mama Murphy. I hear she has a drug issue.
Oh,
She has
Maybe.
a little bit.
I knew that.
Oh. Okay.
I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, maybe we. I think June maybe leaked that somewhere. Roundtable stuff. We're getting into some roundtable quests. Steel Rain quest 3 and 4. We are playing Out of the Blue and a Satisfied Coincidence.
Conscience.
What does that mean? Oh, did I write that wrong? No, I read that wrong. Conscience. Iguana Bits. Some shouts on the way out the door. So we'll talk a little bit about Wes Johnson illness and recovery, and a little bit about the general Fallout calendar. So let's go ahead and roll right into it, and let's have a guest have honors. So we'll get to Mr. Sulior. Did you get a chance to play any video games this week, sir? Or not only this week, but what have you been getting into since last time you've been on the show?
Are you sure you want to start with me? It might take a while.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Do it.
Oh, God. So kind of like the last time I was on the show, I played a little bit of a lot of different things. And, the last time I was on, I was going through Dragon Age Inquisition in anticipation for
Oh, for
Veilguard.
the...
And, yeah.
did you play the new one, too?
Yeah, you might have heard about that on the show. A lot of people were saying that I stole them away from the Roundtable because of that game. So yeah, I've played through and actually finished the game and didn't like one of the things that happened. So I went back and played the third act over again to get the ending that I wanted. Because my comparison for this is with the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2, where you put people in the right position to have the best results, and I didn't like one of them, so
Yeah, those final missions, I understand calling a mulligan. It went well for me the first time, but if something goes wrong, you make one big mistake at the beginning, it can really change the feel, and I get why you did that.
I mean, there's no 100% happy ending any way you go, but
Unless you're a hater.
Yeah, but I didn't like one of the results. I went back and changed it. Sorry to the person that was a effect of that. I mean, I played the whole way through that first time, but yeah, I went back and then started a new character. So I liked it that much, and I'm still in the first act collecting all of the companions, and I'm taking my time with it.
When you go back and play Dragon Age, 3 or whatever it is, Inquisition, when you go back and play the old one before that one, do you find it you catch things you didn't catch the first time, or like it puts you in the mood for the next one, or what?
Yeah.
What's happening with that?
Well, because Inquisition
Because I did it
pretty
with
much
Fallout too.
directly
When stuff comes
sets
up.
up things that happen in the Veilguard. Especially with things that happen in the what's the DLC called again? Starts with a T,
Wait,
right?
is this one where you can carry like your progress forward with characters from previous games? You know how games
Yeah,
do that sometimes? You
yeah.
can do that here?
In the first three, you
Whoa.
can. Yep, not the newest one
Oh,
so much,
okay,
but
okay.
Well,
there are a couple little things in this one.
yeah. I mean, a little bit, not a ton, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought
some
I
of the
remember
things
just
that
saying
you
that.
because it does ask you some of the things in the tutorial that happened in Inquisition. Kind of like what Witcher 3 does, based on what happens in Witcher 2. So, like it kind of makes references to a few things that your character did because, well, no, I probably shouldn't mention that.
No, we won't go
Um,
into spoilers necessarily, although it's been out for, 3, 4 months now. But here we go. Quick way to wrap Dragon Age. If you had to rank this Dragon Age in the pantheon of Dragon Ages, where would you put the Veilguard? And what else would
oh,
you have?
that's tough because I mean they're all great in their own
Have you played them
unique
all?
ways. They're all so different. Yeah,
Okay.
they're all different from each other, so it's kind of hard to rank them. But I have said several times that it's one of my favorite games that I've played in the last year. And the fact that I actually did finish it is a huge accomplishment because
Yeah,
it's on record that I have such a bad habit of getting really far in games and then not finishing them. And
best
not
time to
only,
stop a game is like 80% of the way through. At least
yeah,
that's what I hear from you. Yep.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that on this show actually. Um, Yeah, but yeah, I've not only finished it, I started a brand new game and have been playing it, and I picked a different play style from my first character, which I've played a rogue the entire series. Now I'm playing a mage, and it's so different. So it kind of does give it a little bit of a fresh coat of paint, um, just in the gameplay. But I wanted to finish that before I moved on and played Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones is such an amazing game too. I actually did finish that. And it does such a great job of basically making like putting you in an Indiana Jones movie. Like Troy Baker is Indiana Jones. Like he does like he sounds exactly like him. He actually did the motion cap for it as well. So and Voss is such a great villain, and he does such a good job of making you hate him and cheer for when things happen to him, like when he gets his nose broken or something like that, because you're just wanting to do it yourself. Um, but yeah, Indiana Jones is such a. If you haven't played it, definitely play it. Andrew,
Yeah,
I'm sure that you'll be playing it before
been
too
telling
long.
him that I think he'd enjoy it. It's a good game.
Yeah, I love that
Um,
style of stuff. I always go on about how Uncharted is great, and I love those
mhm.
Indiana Jones movies so much, and blah blah blah. So yeah, I definitely need to get it at some point.
And it's got some great puzzles as well, and really does reward you for exploring. There is an underground boxing, like a Fight Club. I mean, we don't talk about
What
Fight
are you
Club, but
doing talking
um,
about it out loud?
yeah,
Get off the show with that nonsense. Stop it.
but it does prepare you for um, like fighting in the game, like when you're getting swarmed by enemies. If you get discovered and you're not great at stealth like I am, although the stealth is pretty satisfying, like walking up to somebody with a pole and like racking them and then whacking them in the face when they turn around. Um, but yeah, there is a point to learning how to like one-on-one like fist fight well. Um, Learning all that like the dodging and the blocking things like that, not completely wasting your stamina so you can actually counterpunch. um so yeah, I wrapped up with Indiana Jones, and I was like, okay, well, I've got about a month before Avowed comes out. What can I play in that time? and a lot of people have been talking to me about Dead Space and saying how great of a game that is, and I need to play that. And I'm like, it's about 90% off in the store. Why don't
That's
I
that
try that?
scary space game, right?
Yeah, you're in space and your
Like
ship
the
is
art
filled
is
with
like a
zombies and
dead hand with a
yeah.
wrapping something. Brrr.
So I had several people telling me that it was a great game. One of them was Kelsey, who I do a couple of podcasts with. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. So I tried it, and the controls are ridiculous. Um, like I died so quickly the first time because you had to be able to shoot your gun, you have to pull the left trigger and then pull the right trigger. Because if you can't shoot from the hip, because if you try that, you're stomping on the ground.
You
So
got to chew bubble gum too. That's too much. That's too much.
it's like, I mean, yeah, there is a way to hit somebody with your hand. You can shoot, you can stomp them once they're like. So basically, what you got to do is you got to shoot their legs out and then stomp their head, so you're not wasting a bunch of ammo. But I did make it out of the first area. It's just like it's I don't know. It's different. I don't know how much more I'm going to can I because the man, it's going from so many games, like having to get used to those controls. It's a bit much, but I am enjoying it, I think.
Yeah, you've been playing a lot the last, few months. I mean, variety of games, it looks like.
Yeah. Um, so I recently picked up the latest Zelda game, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and
Echoes
that
of wisdom.
is has been pretty fun as well. It's got the same art style as the Link's Awakening remake that came out in 2019, but this
Oh,
is the first time you actually get to play as Zelda, um,
well, that's
which
fun.
you've been able to play as her in other games, but they've been spin-offs. This is like a mainline game, and uh, her play style is completely different from Link, as it should be. Like you're not going around swinging a sword, shooting a bow. You're using magic. So basically, like you defeat an enemy, like you throw a rock at an enemy, and then you can actually absorb the essence of that enemy, and you can use them in puzzles and game like fighting and things like that, depending on what they are. Also, you can use you can summon a bed to regain your health, things like that.
Okay, so
May,
if she can do fucking magic, why am I constantly coming to save her fucking ass over and over and over and over again? Use your magic on those other games. Come on.
yep. I mean, she did do pretty decently in like she did help you a lot in the last two games in Breath of the Wild and Echoes of and not Echoes of Wisdom, Tears of the Kingdom.
I haven't finished either of those yet.
You're
I'm
still
bad. I'm
playing Breath
bad.
of the Wild all these years later.
I got past the first two Titans or whatever those things are called, and I haven't gone back to it.
Oh yeah. So I made it
Drift.
through the
It was because
first.
I controller drift. Don't blame me.
Oh, I had that too. I actually had to have a Joy-Con replaced because of that. And now it doesn't say it's connected to the tablet, but anyway. I mean, it's an OG, like year one Switch, so I guess that's to be expected. But we do have the new one coming out here in the next few months. So
Is that officially announced
um,
yet?
it was announced. They haven't said when it's going to come out, but we've got a
Yeah.
big reveal on April 2nd,
Yeah, they've announced the announcement. They have
pretty
declared
much.
the
They've
date that we will
announced the
learn
announcement.
more.
Will they do like November Christmas release or like before
Gotta be
that?
sooner. Gotta be
Sooner
A
than
lot of
sooner.
that?
people are
Okay.
saying summer, but who knows? They usually don't tell us until about a month ahead of time, if that. But anyway, yeah, I made it through the first dungeon, about to take on the second one. Then we had, speaking of directs, we had the Xbox Direct, and one of the things that was shown was Ninja Gaiden. And so I've never played a Ninja
Yeah.
Gaiden game,
Just was talking about that
but
last week.
Yep.
yeah, yeah. So I, one of them is now on Game Pass, so I thought I'd try it out, and I've been playing it through the cloud and got to the big boss in the second area, and he is completely kicking my ass within a few seconds. It's such a fast pace, like you can't get away from him. You'll try dodging, you'll try blocking, he'll still take half your life within a few seconds. I've gotten him down to half life, and I can't.
The
I can't. I don't know.
the word
Um,
shinobi just popped in my head. Was that one of the games in the series or something? Or no, was that have nothing to do with that one?
there's one called Sigma, I think, but I don't know about Shinobi.
Hmm. Sorry.
Oh wait, there isn't Shinobi a character, and that's gonna bother me now too. Um,
Sorry to interrupt.
but
Go
anyway,
ahead.
yeah, it is fun. It's very difficult, but it is satisfying, like disarming people literally, and then just completely like obliterating them. Um, so yeah, that's been fun. I might have to look up to see if the boss that guy has any weaknesses that I'm not seeing.
I'm sure some of them can be tough. I remember they were in the original. I mean, the NES game, sorry, the NES games are quite are quite difficult, and I
They're
didn't
legendary
play
for being
much of the new ones, so
difficult.
I want to play, Ninja Gaiden Black 2, now that it's out on Game Pass. Just haven't yet, but I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, and it actually works really well through the cloud too, surprisingly, because that's how I've been playing it. Because I just don't have the space for it.
Right,
Um,
right. I mean, that's a
so yeah,
nice way to make up for the size of the hard drive, is being able to cloud game. But it's not always as good with action, so I'm glad to hear it's working for you.
yeah, I remember before I upgraded my console, I tried Ghostwire Tokyo with the cloud, and the vid like I couldn't see anything. It looked like I had sunglasses on indoors with the lights off. It was so bad. Um, but yeah, it's been fun. Like I said, I'm gonna have to see if that boss has a weakness. But next, like I've been playing Sea of Thieves again with some friends, a couple of groups of friends, and that's been a lot of fun. So, like I've been wanting to play Sea of Thieves for a while, but it's one of those games where I just had it in my mind that it just wasn't good unless you're playing with people. So yeah, I had the chance to, and I got the taste for it again. And I've actually, I was playing with a friend last weekend, and like I was so stupid. Like I spent all of my gold on cosmetics, and
But they're there. It's hard not to,
yeah,
right? The Atom Shop has
so it's
trained
like,
us.
ooh, that's a really cool looking sword. I want that. Here's, yeah, sure, I'll spend 60, 70,000 gold on that skin. But then I didn't have any money to buy my own ship. Um, so I played with a friend over the weekend, and we raised, I think, almost it was over 300,000 gold within an hour.
Oh, that's good.
So I was able to buy a one to two person sloop, and so I've been going out on doing these really easy like 1 star missions on my own, and it's been fun, like going and taking on a skeleton horde or finding a couple of chests of buried treasure within like a half hour or something like that. So yeah, that's been fun, and it's such a beautiful game too. Like I don't understand how Indiana Jones and Sea of Thieves both do not have an actual photo mode. Especially Indiana Jones, considering like one of the big features in the game is a camera. Like you use it to collect evidence, things like that. It's like, okay, well, just let me take some like official like photo mode shots.
Just pull up the
Um,
camera and take screen caps, dog.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of what I had to do, especially with with games like if they do give you the option to hide your HUD, sure, but yeah, in India, I mean, Sea of Thieves is an online game, so you can't pause it,
Yeah, right.
so you have to be careful. Like it's such a beautiful game. You just sit there and watch the sunrise or sunset, and then crash into a rock because you just get
Boom.
captivated. Um, so yeah, and then what I'm not doing my Fallout feed roundtable quests in Fallout 76. I have been doing a lot of raids. Yeah, thank you, Lee. I knew I'd heard the name Shinobi before. Um, so yeah, it's just so like I'll get in there and I'm trying to do my dailies, and somebody will send me a party chat invite, like, "Hey, come do this raid with me." I'm like, "All right, cool." Um, and it's the raids are tough, but they are a lot of fun. I've actually been able to complete several without the game crashing or freezing on me, so that's been great. Um, but they give you so much crap in these raids that you have to like you can completely fill your stash with these serums and fusion cores and things like that. But
Yeah, it's
hey,
cucumber salad if you make it through, for
yeah,
sure.
but it is rewarding because it is tough. Um, but it's doable. And from what I hear, they're going to be expanding on them, so that'll be interesting. Um, but yeah, that is. Oh, how could I forget Starfield? I have been playing a lot of Starfield lately as well. Um, I've been wanting to for a while, so I've been streaming it, and I hadn't been doing a lot with my streaming character for a while. So I was in there doing some Freestar Ranger stuff, and I picked up a mod that gives you an outpost, like a player house on this planet that's this system that starts with a Z. I'm blanking on it, and my light year jump was not good enough to get there, even from the last part in the jump line, the jump chain. Like what? Oh.
Is
And
it
I've
out in
been
like all
wanting.
the way out in Zelazny or something, maybe?
No, it starts with it's not Zelazny, but it does start with a
Another
Z.
Z. Okay, I'll think of it.
Um,
Or Ray will.
like even with the basic Mantis ship, which is what I've been flying around with, because the one that I tried to make with the little funds that I had off of the Frontier was not great. Um, so yeah, well, I didn't have my piloting skill up, so that's one thing I worked on off stream. And so I did a little bit of work on the Mantis ship and was able to get out to that outpost. And it is cool. But then, I was chatting with Jess here, and she mentioned Varun, House Varun Habs, and my ears
Yeah,
immediately
ship
perked up
halves. Yep.
because Varun ships have always been my favorite to commandeer. So I was looking at the pictures. I was like, okay, this is freaking awesome. So I built a completely new ship with my main character. And well, I mean, I'd been doing outpost building too because I wanted to get the ship builder in my outpost. So I didn't have to fly out to
Right. It helps you do
wherever.
a lot more variety right at your
So yeah,
outpost.
I've just been doing a lot of building, both with ship building and outpost building. And yeah, with the House Varun halves, you have to have your own, like a specific ship builder, like not the normal ship builder. You have a specific one that includes the House Varun halves. That way you don't have to go out to where you get the because there's a little quest involved. So you don't have to go out to Mercury to
Yeah,
build
wicked
with it.
short. Wicked. It doesn't necessarily count as a quest. It's wicked short, but like
Yeah.
all of the different, ship manufacturers, you get their parts at their star station. So there is a Varun star station, but there's like a mini little ship builder location for it, and then you
Yeah.
can build it at your base. Very
So, I
cool.
mean, crafting is not something I've done a lot with in Starfield. So I'm trying to do more of that. That way I can build like spacesuit and weapon mods, things like that. So yeah, building is super addicting no matter what game you're in, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's about it with me. I did pick up another mod that adds vendors into your outpost. And it's a from a verified creator and it's achievement friendly. But what I thought was interesting about it is you're literally building people. So you're not building like a booth for these people to go to. You're literally building the actual vendor and their, well, I mean, maybe their sense. I don't know. I haven't actually built one yet, but I thought it was interesting. Like, I think it was the general vendor. You build them with a CD player, and I can't remember what the other thing was. I was like, what? Okay. We'll see how this goes. That way I don't have to constantly make trips to the den to get these supplies, like
Right.
the resources. But yeah, that's about it for me. I think I was able to condense that pretty well, considering it was a pretty long list.
Did you know that the Atom Cats on Fallout 4 Is that what they're called? The Atom Cats? The
I think, yeah.
the mechanic guys, the hot rodder guys. Is that what they were?
Yes.
Spray painting their power armor stuff. Did you know that they were obsessed with the house in House Varun in Starfield?
Really?
No, I did not. How do you know this, Andrew?
Vroom, vroom.
I knew it was coming. Oh my god.
So,
Also, Ray, I apologize. I have also not been playing Fallout London. I've been
Well, I thought you
wanting
were going
to,
to
but I haven't.
apologize for Andrew's
Come on.
joke. Thought he was apologizing for it too.
No, I would never. I would never.
you apologize
for any puns.
yourself.
Yeah, I would never apologize for puns.
Yeah, Ray, I also haven't been playing Fallout London, so
You guys.
Flackers. All of
I
us.
do need to though, because I want to see if I can actually finish the Vagabond stuff. Finally,
well, Ray, have you played any Fallout London this week?
I have indeed, and
Are you serious? You did?
Yeah.
That's funny. Did you start you started a new character in that recently though, didn't you? Or was this a new character?
Well, no, I had. I don't know. It's hard to keep track of them.
Yeah, you're level 200 we're talking about. The 204.
Well, no, that's in Starfield. No, this in Fallout
Right,
London. I had a character that I hadn't really done much with. I'd started him out and then, left him to do something else. So I fired them back up, and I went through the gang war quests. Because I realized I hadn't done anything more than just made it to where I was able to join the Vagabonds, but I didn't really want to.
Right.
Because I wanted to do other things.
So you never finished all the Isle of Dogs stuff and the rest of that?
Right. So I went through that. This character hadn't done anything. He had been to the Swan and Mitre, but not spent any time there. And so I went back and went through that whole thing. And it's pretty interesting. So there's basically 3 different endings you can come up with that. You can side with the dogs, you can side with the vagabonds, or you can forge peace. From a gaming perspective, forging peace is the worst.
Really, as far as the benefit, you mean?
Yeah, you get none.
Oh, geez. Yeah, who wants that?
And yeah,
Get the pleasure of a job well done, Ray.
yeah, that must be it.
Role playing is its own reward.
Yeah. But it's an interesting quest line. It's got a lot of twists and turns to it. So it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I went through it. None of the rewards are particularly big. But there's a lot of interesting story involved with it. So it's a good one to go through. No matter which way you choose. The one thing I realized going through that, so at the very beginning of the game, Sebastian Gaunt, the head of the Vagabonds, gives you a butterfly knife. And with only 1 level of blacksmith, you can turn that into the absolute dominant melee weapon in the game for the whole game.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you get a cool animation with the butterfly knife? With like flipping it out
they
and
did
shit?
tone that down. It used to be every time you would pause, you would start flipping the knife around. And, so then I had to download a mod that would stop that from happening. And then in an update, they took that part of the animation out. You still got to see the animation when you put it away. So that was nice because it's a really cool animation.
Right. But it was a little bit much when it's every time you stop for a second.
Excessive.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Okay. Yeah, that's annoying, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be like if you're just like started twirling your gun on your finger every time you like stood still to like Or if you're doing a transaction with a vendor and you just start twirling your guns.
Yeah.
Exactly.
ESO has animations like that, but you can turn them off pretty easily. So,
you know, so there is definitely, some ramifications to the different paths that you take on this, but it's it was it was nice that I was high enough level. I think my character was like level 22 or something like that. And with a sneak melee character, that's all the higher you need to be dominant in the game. And so I was able to do all three endings. Some of them can be much tougher than others if you don't have a high enough level and a strong enough character, because there's some major league fighting involved. I spent a significant portion of my week playing the new No Man's Sky content.
Oh,
nice.
excellent.
How's that going?
I saw the tweet from Sean Murray. So,
yeah, and everybody was really confused because there was still another week on the expedition redo. But oh my god, an update, and are they going to end it early, or what? No, they just dropped the update, and you can still do the expedition. There will be a new one that follows up right after it, which is also awesome. But it's just amazing. So I think this is the 30th update to the game since it released in 2016.
That's a lot, because the majority of them have added, at least one big feature, if not a couple.
Yeah, and I mean it's significantly, it's huge. And the thing is that they've never charged for a single one of them. And these are all, easily, bigger than Bethesda DLCs.
Oh, that's why that next game is going to be $300.
Yeah. And I'll pay it because it looks fantastic.
and
the thing,
you'll get 30 updates too, so it's worth it.
Yeah. There's an interview, or not really an interview, it was like a behind the scenes video from Sean Murray. And, he confirmed that, the stuff that they're coming up with for Light No Fires is, immediately being rolled into No Man's Sky. So, one of the things that they added, so recently they updated the water, so you get big waves and, all this, great water texture. This time they've added raindrops make ripples in the water when you're standing there.
oh, cool.
And it looks so nice. But
isn't the new game going to be on like a new engine? Do they have to like dumb the additions down to put them into?
Nope. The engine is going to handle it just fine.
Wow.
So, but definitely been loving on that. And kind of interspersed in all of that is my Starfield, level 200 plus character. And so at this point, I am 25 robots away from completely maxing out the tech tree.
Wow. Okay.
Wow,
Very, very
yeah.
close.
So, and it's surprisingly hard to find robots when you want them. So
they're always in your way otherwise, but
yeah. But it's definitely been rolling along. It's the first time that I've really done anything with ship crew, and so
I'm guessing one of them is not Vasco.
No, none of them are the constellation people. I haven't.
Oh, sweet.
Once I walked out of the constellation after I gave them that one artifact, I haven't seen them since. So I'll eventually get back there because I do want to take this character through the Unity at some point. But it's it's very slow leveling at this point. So I just recently got to level 204.
I can't believe you're even like that much over 100. Like
Took some work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of grinding, but although what I did, so I've been so focused on doing all of the skill leveling that I went to pick a lock and didn't have any digipicks.
Oh man.
Because I just have not been. I've been going to one particular kind of building, and only 2 rooms in that building, and they don't have any digipicks, but there is one locked door, and so I've without noticing, I've burned through all of the initial digipicks that I had picked up. This character hasn't done any exploring, outside of just flying around and destroying ships or boarding ships but I've just started. I've almost done with leveling pistols to the max. I've picked up a few different heavy weapons, so I'm going to have to start working on heavy weapons and get that skill maxed out. But shotguns, rifles, particle. I do need to work on laser. I've got an Orion in the arsenal that I'll start working on soon to get lasers up.
But Orions are fun. That's what I used with my main character in the Prime universe. That's what I stuck with.
Yeah. So slowly but surely, I'll get them all. Some of them are harder than the others. So I had, to get payloads. The last one you have to warp 50 times with your cargo maxed out.
Oh, maxed out even. Wow.
Well, it's like 75%, but just to make sure that I got it done, I had it filled to the brim with adaptive frames. So
I want to know how many there were.
I don't know. It was like 10,000 pounds worth.
Oh man,
it's a lot.
When you measure things in tonnage versus count, you know that you have a lot.
Yeah.
They're what, like a pound a piece, something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe 1.5
I've
something.
Never paid attention to it. It's just there. It's what I build to grind the character up to level 200. So
And those and the isomagnets.
Yep.
And
zero
the
wire
aluminum canisters, and the zero wire, the thermostats, magnestats, whatever they are. Tau grade magnestat, I think.
Rheostat.
Oh yeah.
I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Rheostat. Are you measuring the viscosity of something? What is the
Is that a Rio thing? What is a rheostat?
Well, the rheology or a rheometer measures the viscosity or thickness of a liquid. So
Cool.
Rio has something to do with the thickness or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, some of the skills are a little more bizarre than others. But all in all, it's been pretty fun. So we'll see. Once I get the tech tree worked out, the one that's going to be the hardest for me is the social. Because there's a lot of stuff in there that you've got to do. The intimidation and
all that talking to people. Yeah.
So I did. I did take the easy way out to maxing out persuasion. So I got all the Dragon Force comics for the kid in Sidonia.
That's a good way to do it. Excellent.
And
So-
so that
The challenges for, say, diplomacy and intimidation and all that, do they require successes, a certain number of successes as a challenge, or just attempting?
Successes.
So definitely probably want to grab the implants from Ryujin if you can
Yeah.
and stuff like that to boost your chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's it's a process, but it's been fun. I haven't really done much else. Although I have, I've watched a few videos with some shipbuilding mods that make some pretty cool looking ships. So I'm kind of thinking I may do something with that. But they do some really weird stuff that where you stack components. Like, so you stack 3 engines together and then mount that on your ship.
Interesting.
Okay.
And so now you've got, 6 times. So you mount one on each side and you've got 6 times the power of the engine. Because essentially you have 6 engines instead of 2.
Somehow tricking the system. Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost like merging them. That's interesting.
But it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, that's what it is. They do that with weapons too, and reactors and grav drives and all that kind of stuff. So it wouldn't be a serious character because it's totally fudging it. But the one mod that I kind of piqued my interest was place your own doors. So you actually control where the door is on your ship when you place
That
a
would
hab
be
together.
really helpful.
Yeah, place your own ladders, place your own doors. Good stuff.
So that's been one thing that I was really struggling with one of the ships I built, because one of the habs in the Varun habs mod is for a prayer room. It's a single 1x1 like prayer room, but
Right.
there's only one door to get in there. So like based on where I would place it, there was no way to get in there, or like you couldn't access the rest of the ships. So that would be really helpful to be able to place a door wherever the hell I want to.
So, and then I played the quests in Fallout 76, but that's all I did in 76.
Oh, I thought you meant that's all you did, and you had only played 7,000 games. All right, so we'll get to those quests here in just a little while. But why don't we switch over and say, hey, Jess, how about you? What did you get a chance to play this week?
Hey, Andrew. Well, I got a chance to play a little Fallout 76.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was mostly on the quests for the show. I actually, I'm continuing the trend of getting them done early, which is pretty impressive. A lot of times, yeah, Prug is impressed too.
Yep.
A lot of times
Yeah, Mom,
when it comes
go.
to the roundtable quests, I'm doing them the day before, but no, this week and last week too, I did them like Tuesday, Wednesday. So getting them in. Actually,
Yeah.
to be fair, this week was Wednesday, Thursday, but still I started early.
Slacker.
I started early. We got those done. I am rank 90 or 91 on the scoreboard now. So I'm not an overachiever, Mr. Double Scorecation here, so you are. But
Wait.
but I'm getting up there.
I got one of those for that. Hang on.
Scorecation!
There you go.
Appreciate that, Mo.
I
Yeah.
already probably gave you the double dip scorecation
You did.
weeks
You
ago.
did. Yeah.
You're on the quadruple or quintuple, scorecation at this point, but whatever.
Well, he's
it's all
now
good.
buying new foreign devices to play 76 on to get to get
If only I had a
scorecation on all of
PlayStation,
those.
man. I've been saying for ages I want to get a PlayStation.
Andrew, on the scoreboard, where are
What's
you
up?
at this point? Are you ahead of me yet?
Well, I got up to the Bombay Kitty and I kind of
Okay.
slammed the brakes on. I don't know. I haven't gone in the last 3 days or any.
Is that 82 or 91? I don't know, but
81, 81,
Yeah.
I think, something like
okay.
that. Yeah, around that
Cool.
ballpark somewhere. And then, but I'm looking and I see, fuck, that kitty cactus scratching post is
Yeah.
You
pretty
need it. You need
fucking
it.
cool, man. So I'm
That
like,
and the
all
leaf
right,
pile for the dog.
I'm
Yep.
probably gonna. I saw that today. I'm like, God damn it! They're just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
So having pets at our Fallout camps has been fun. It's been really nice. And Hard Knock is my only guy that does right now because my main character I haven't actually put down a dog. But Hard Knock has Leo. Leo is his German Shepherd over at Hard Knock's Homes Goods.
Is it the white
Yeah.
one or the? What is
No.
that? A Belgian? What do they call that? The white?
The Malinois. Yeah, he's a traditional brown though, or
Okay.
sable. I'm not.
Sable? Is that the word?
No, that's not the right word for it. That's for other dogs. I forget what the marking is if it has an
I have
official
no
name.
idea. I don't
But
know.
your standard German Shepherd markings anyway.
Yeah.
That's-
That standard. Yeah.
But so that's mostly my Fallout. Besides the quests, was a little bit of grinding on my main character just to get scoreboard stuff. Playing on Hard Knock, just doing a few things. He got up to level 35, so still pretty low. I'm still taking it not too fast on him, trying to keep the challenge going, but he's doing well. And
Gotta
it
keep
definitely,
the challenge going. Like you
Yeah.
were doing better than I was without that.
well, there is a slight boost to having the lower level character in the curve, but in the 30s is where it actually starts to be painful. I think the fact that I did the illicit meet and greet, where I made him some good BOS combat armor modded and got him, the better fixer and stuff like that on a private server with my other character. My other character out there crafting him stuff. Like I believe I mentioned last episode that my DR went up by like 90 points. Like his DR is probably like 240, 250. It's low in the scheme of things, but for his level, it's pretty high. So yeah, he is doing well. Besides that, I mostly played Starfield this week, continuing that whole situation. I mentioned I was going to play the
nice.
Doom content last week. I did. I finished that. That was really quite fun.
Nice.
I've also been adding a lot of mods, like I said, but achievement-friendly ones because I'm not quite there yet. Finishing all achievements, I want to do that first. But I've added a bunch, probably like 25 mods at this point between Bethesda mods and achievement-friendly mods and stuff. Some ship building, outpost building, a number of quality of life things, fun stuff. There's a cool series of mods called Tiny Reasons to Explore, and there's one Tiny Reasons to Explore Space, and then Tiny Reasons to Explore, which is kind of like, your stumble upon interiors in Fallout 4, that kind of concept, or Plenty O Exploration, those different explore mods where they add like just little vignettes, little scenes, little things you can see. The one for space, Tiny Reasons to Explore Space, you get small derelict stations or like satellites, stuff like that. It just neat stuff. I love that. On the ships, I did the Varun Habs I was telling Sulior about that he also got the like luxurious ship Habs because sometimes you got to live in style, and these are like your Trident Starlines kind of thing. I've got on one of my ships. There's the 2x2, all-in-one residential module. Oh my God, I want to live there. We've got like this nice sofa. We've got like a good 82-inch TV. Maybe it's 100-inch. I don't know. It's
Really?
large.
That's
It's very
awesome.
large.
What does
Got
2
all
by
kinds
2
of-
imply?
2 square by 2 square. If you think of like ship habs as like foundations, in building a camp, so kind of like that. So it's just a 2x2 module.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah,
I always say your ship is basically your house more
Yeah.
than your outposts are. So why wouldn't you want to?
you can spend a lot of time
live
there.
out
I mean,
there, yeah.
obviously there are player homes in the game and various things that you can earn, and then of course there are some via mods, and then outpost building. But outpost building is kind of the slightly underserved thing in this game because you really do spend most of your time on your ship, like a lot of us do. We live on the road. It's like our VW
Yeah.
bus, but in space.
I will say though that lately, since I've been getting into outpost building more, that's typically where I go when I'm like finishing up for the night. Is I'll take a trip back to my outpost and save there.
It can be good when you start to get into that method of play. That is pretty good stuff. So I've been playing with a lot of those mods, other stuff in Starfield as well. I did the Vulture finally because I already done the basic track line. Did the Vultures. I'm enjoying my suborbital shuttle. That is a wonderful zooming around like the Jetsons. I have started the Veil, which is fun. Oh, there, Forgotten Frontiers, cool expansion. So another thing that I like are things to add points of interest. So, tiny reasons to explore, like I mentioned. But there is a series of mods for Skyrim called Forgotten Dungeons, which I really enjoy that because they're fully meshed dungeons with varying levels of difficulty, but you can also use them for Radiant quests. And it's the same thing here. Forgotten Frontiers, it's called. It's a point of interest expansion, which, of course, we know Starfield needs more variety in points of interest with the repeating ones. Even if I try to avoid doing the repeating, it's still great to have more to choose from. And so that's been really cool. And I have actually done a little bit of outpost building too. One that I got that was fun was the modular outpost Argos extractors. It actually gives you some half-furnished outposts already. And I obviously have less to choose from than like Ray on PC with the Nexus. I'm only using the official ones through creations. And in this case right now, only verified creators because I'm still getting those achievements. But along those lines, so after I did, the Doom playthrough and finished the Vulture, and I think I had finished Ryujin last week, right, you guys? Did I already finish that for last show?
Yep.
Yep, did all that. After that, I decided to revisit my ships. So I got the Indigo Shrike, which was my ship that kept disappearing on me. It's not doing that anymore. So I made that my home ship, and I brought in some of the rebuilt it. I only got one ship mod, the Avon Tech Raceways. And so it just adds a few pieces, but I did that one up nicer. And then I'm like, I need to build a ship from scratch. So I now have a fifth ship in the fleet. It is the Green Hornet. I do all mine off of colors, pretty much. And it's fun. It's more of a fighter. So like most of my ships are Class C. And the Green Hornet is a Class B fighter. It's lighter. I still need to have at least 4,000 cargo because, I run a crew of 6. So, I run a crew of 5, but then I have my companion. So I have that going on, and I have plenty of cargo at all times, right? My cargo is always like 4,000 or 5,000 because my main ships have at least 6,000 cargo, for crafting and various things. I make fun of people being pack rats sometimes in like 76, but when I'm in control of myself in Starfield or, all the classic games like Fallout 4, you got to load up on the junk. You got to collect all the things, right? And so you have to keep making room in your cargo bay to do that. But I found a nice balance where when I switch to the ship, I can usually have about 100 or 200 free with my character, with the cargo boosting from the crew. And it's been fun flying this around because it's faster. Got a top speed of like 180.
Really cool looking ship from what you were showing off.
Thanks. Yeah, I shared it on the Twitter and the Blue Sky the other day. Just having fun with it. So that, you took it took a bit of time doing that. I have hit level 100, which that was an achievement that I wanted to do. That was one of the last achievements I have to finish. And that took some work. Thank you. Yeah, score Starcation.
Starscape. Wait, we had that at some point.
Yeah, you did.
Do you still have it? Do you still have the song?
Oh, I don't know. That's probably on the
There's a couple
other
of different
old
ones that were playing.
computer. Who knows?
For sure. But, doing a lot of the quests and just grinding, fighting, exploring planets. I've surveyed another, 510 over the last week or two. It's just been great just jumping in and doing a lot of this. But I did hop on the tip of, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of some of this crafting XP too. Because I want to get up to 100. And I already had it. My Beach Post Prime, my main outpost, was set up to do some crafting grinding. Like, I'm going to find this location on Bessel 3B people talk about. I'm going to find the location. And I did. I found the location. I, no problem, put down a base there. I've got the aluminum. I've got the iron. I've got the cobalt. And I've got the nickel. Yeah, nickel. All 4 of them there. So I got that, and I've got my new Argos extractors set up for the outpost I built there. So I actually built a pretty damn sweet outpost, if I do say myself, at the location. And I got at least 6, 7 levels that way. I was close. I was at like 93, but I am now at like 101 after that, and some adventuring. So yeah, that's been really fun. Loving the Starfield. And I think that's pretty much it for the gameplay. Like, awesome. No cool stories besides just playing with mods, but I'm excited to jump into the Veil and do that. And finally, my very last 3 achievements I need in the game, the Crimson Fleet. So I will be playing through the Crimson Fleet quests.
That's a fun one
And-
too. When you're there, don't forget to get the book that's in Delgado's his room.
Oh.
That'll get you another snow globe.
I gotta, that would be great. I got a bit of time before I get to that point, but I definitely will. I'll also
There's a couple
mention my main girl. So I've been playing with some of the other companions too, because like Ray, I'm a big fan of companions. And, Sahima Vadik that you pick up in Shattered Space, she's actually pretty awesome. She's really grown on me. So one of those optional companions you can get, like, in Shattered Space has a lot of branching choice quests. Don't believe what they tell you. There's branching choice quests. And Sahima can live or die, like you or dislike you. But if she lives and she likes you, she might join your crew. And she's a lot of fun. So I've been running around with her and Marika a bit. And I mean, of course, Sarah and all that, because but that's been great. And I just shared a picture of my newest outpost over in chat. I haven't put that one up on Twitter yet, but I'm actually pretty proud of how it's coming along. I got some good buildings there and got a good picture of the Green Hornet. And it looks cool at night, but you'll recognize that location, Ray, because there it is, right on Vessel 3V.
Mount Nika.
Yeah, exactly. We got that behind, and those cool little half-flat, little round thingies that pop up. I don't know what their scientific name is. Half-flat round thingies works for me.
Yeah.
But it's been great. So yeah, that's my gameplay. Andrew, have you played some Fallout?
No, none.
Oh no,
I don't play video games, you guys. This has all been a farce, this whole thing. Fooled you, all of you. Woo, burn. I played a little bit of video games. I try to get our quests done. We'll get into the struggles of that. But Will has been doing this thing where he's making 10 billion unstoppable monsters so that he can get the bloodied thing, and he's crafted a bunch, scrapped a bunch, and finally got his bloodied.
He did. He can craft the bloodied mod. He didn't just get the drop box.
Right. He can
it.
actually put it on stuff now. So I was thinking, oh man, is there like an end-game named weapon? So that one is pretty special in that we can craft it, right? There's not a ton of the named ones that you can also craft, right? Or can we also... No, we can do cold shoulder and stuff like that too. Is that different for some reason?
No, I mean, those all qualify as legendary weapons.
And
the ones that qualify as legendary, you could scrap for the mods, I would think.
So is there like a legendary, like instigating faster swing speed and or fire rate +3 strength and or agility type weapon there? You know what I mean? Like, if I want to do what Will's doing, but fine tune it from the stuff that I want, is there like, I need to look and see what all the weapons are in the list and which ones I can craft, so I know which ones I'll need to build 100 of so that I can scrap
well,
blah, blah,
which
blah,
ones
blah,
are you
blah.
looking for? Because there are a lot of unique ones at this point, but...
See, I don't know. Automatic pistols, what? So you got to be... I don't even know.
Yeah.
Furious, I guess?
Let's see. The medical malpractice.
Would
Can you
probably be
craft
best.
those?
Is there a furious, faster fire rate thing?
So.
Yeah, you can craft medical malpractice. It's a daily ops drop, and that has what? It's got medics, VATS enhanced, and VATS optimized. You might like the VATS optimized.
Yeah,
I don't know. There aren't that many legendary pistols. The Somerset Special from early on, that you get from the responders.
No thanks.
That actually has some decent effects, though, right? It's just anti-armor. Like, knowing how to craft anti-armor would actually be good.
Actually, that 50% anti-armor ignores any armor. That actually is a pretty good one. The penetrating or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Admittedly, once you know how to make the best mods, you can make up for it somewhat, but still.
Yeah, but I wanted to see if I could find something like, I could do like Will's doing. Anyway, I already set up my big news this week was getting the kitty cat, the black one. I think they call it Bombay. Put up his little kitty bed and running around, very cute. Other than that, I was I had gotten the cat, so I was like, oh man, a big sort of like relief off the shoulders, like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. And then I saw that cactus. Now I want that cactus. But anyway, so for a few days, I stepped a little bit away from 76, and then I was like just staring me right there in the face on my home screen, and I popped on everybody's favorite Fallout game, Fallout Shelter, and I started another survival vault and Fallout Shelter.
A new one, a fresh
a
one?
new, fresh, clean one. And then I was like, man, I had so much fun playing it, because I played it for a pretty long time the other day. And I was like, man, I had so much fun. So I like popped out my phone. I started a new survival vault on my phone too.
Sometimes those first 20 hours are the best.
I'm double fisting Shelter over here again. It's a good old time. So yeah, that's my big news. I've made a bold move back into Shelter again. I have no idea why. It's just,
who could have seen it coming?
It's calling me home. You know what I mean?
In January, it's our comfort shows, comfort games
it's
over the
comfort
holidays.
shit. You are true.
Yeah,
yeah.
I finished Discovery, and I actually started watching Elementary last week again. I'm like, because that's a great classic.
There you go.
Show. Yeah,
that makes total sense. Yeah, when you put it in that frame. All right, hey, let's take a quick visit with Will and see what our Fallout Top 5 is this week before we go into our roundtable stuff. So let's say hi to Will. What are we checking in? Mama Murphy, right?
Top 5 things you didn't know about Mama Murphy. Number 5, she's actually only in her mid-30s, but a hard life of partying in chems makes her look older. Number 4, when out of chems, she can also gain the sight by eating moldy, fancy lad snack cakes.
That's true.
Number 3.
I've been there.
Once ripped the head off of a raider with her bare hands for stealing her chair. That one's actually
Murphy,
true,
the mad
stealing
woman.
The chair part, but if you talk to her, she says she ripped a raider's head off.
Nuh-uh.
Number 2, hosts an overnight call-in radio show called Mama's Midnight Mystics, where she shares her visions and wisdoms along with some of her favorite tunes. And the number 1 thing you didn't know about Mama Murphy, she sleeps with a blue garden gnome she calls Papa Smurfy.
Oh, Papa Smurfy. That's
okay, that was great.
Oh, thank you, Will. We love it.
Smurfy.
That's our favorite new feature on the show, featuring our good buddy Will. Thanks, Will. Keep it up. All right, let's roll right into some.
What is it with the roundtable stuff?
Some roundtable stuff. Why don't we dig into the quest a little bit here? And I'll start you off by saying, holy shit, I didn't get them done. I'm an asshole.
Hey, you got part way through, so that's good.
I tried to cram for the test like 20 minutes before it happened, dude. I don't know why I failed.
Oh man.
It was a good one. So yeah, we are in Steel Rain. The quests are ramping up at this point. So the first quest we're doing is Out of the Blue. So this is after we report back. I'm trying to remember. Last thing we did was we brought the Pip-Boy back to Valdez, right? And then we went and we worked.
We had to rescue the girl.
Yeah, exactly. We went down to rescue the girl, and we could convince her either to come back or go with the Raider War Party. Mm-hmm. And then we're back, and Valdez has finished researching the Pip-Boy, and I believe at this point, and she has some information that she wants to report. And you have to go talk to Paladin Romani. When you talk to Paladin Romani, she's talking with
Art Knapp.
Yeah, is she talking with him at Atlas?
He's downstairs. Kind of hard to find her.
Right. I know. I found that little dot. And I'm like, oh, I went down the wrong stairs at first. But yeah, she's in the kitchen with Art Knapp, right?
Yeah. And but it's not the same kitchen that you went and found the tentative initiate. This one's in a different part of the lower section. But, well, at least that's where I found him. But yeah, so Art's going on and on about, his niece is missing and that, they're not taking it seriously and that it was the Blue Ridge Caravan Company that was supposed to be delivering her and she never showed up. The caravan showed up, but she wasn't with them.
Right. And Romani is listening, and Romani says, we need more evidence, but I have been suspicious myself. And then you can step in and she says, well, initiate, I'm glad you're here to talk about this. And you can actually, if you found the letter on the previous quest, implicating the Blue Ridge Caravan and saying, getting the one that the Hellcat mercenaries had about getting more people from the Blue Ridge Caravan, you can bring it up and mention it, which kind of corroborates that information.
Yep. Yeah, which immediately she goes from somewhat skeptical to, hard and fast, we've got to knock these Blue Ridge people on their ass.
I was suspicious of these guys from the start. And yeah, it's she definitely takes a bit of a hard line here, which is interesting. It's kind of a character thing that we learned about her on previous missions too, that she can be a little bit overly decisive and aggressive sometimes when it comes to battle tactics, and apparently this sort of thing as well, which is funny. Again, Romani, throughout this quest, I'm like, I actually find Shin to be a little bit more reasonable than Romani.
She got pissed at me when I called her out at the bar.
Yeah,
she got really mad there for a minute.
Well, and that's what happens after you talk to her there, and Art's happy to hear that you're going to look into it. And she says, okay, initiate, meet me down. We're going to investigate the Blue Ridge Caravan Company. Meet me down there. And so next you have to head down to the west side of Big Bend Tunnel at the offices there where Joanna Mayfield and a number of them work. That's where, you usually end up finishing. If you do what is the name of the event that I love with the Brahmin in the tunnel, Big Bend Tunnel?
Free range? Oh, that's not free range. God, what the hell is that called?
I'm forgetting.
The one with
but
the
I love that
We're
one.
doing it with y'all.
The Brahmin in
It's
the
the
tunnel.
escort quest, right?
It's called.
Where you escort the Blue Ridge
and you have
caravan
to
through the tunnel.
You have to start it yourself. So, I mean, I do it pretty riding shotgun. It's called riding
Thank
shotgun.
you. Yeah.
And so you go over on the other side, you talk to Vinny, and you can actually start it yourself. So it's one that people are like, well, I don't ever see that event on the map. Well, it's because no one's starting it. But if someone starts it, you can do it. It's a fun little mission. Anyway, you end on the west side. So you go there to meet Romani, and you look around, you find her. She is actually sitting in the bar in her civvies. She's blending very well. She's not blending very well. Like, she looks the part maybe, but she cannot talk the part. She is a paladin through and through. It's been a while. But so you meet her and you can sit down at the bar with her. She's like, have a seat. Whatever she calls you.
Yeah, well, and it's not like you've got an option. If you want to advance the quest, you have to sit and have a drink with her.
Yep.
Right.
Because I tried to, this is a bunch of BS. Let's just get going.
No, thank you. I'm happy standing.
It's like, nope.
And I tried sitting down before she tells you to, and you can't. I was like, yeah, I don't mind sitting down and have a drink, but let me.
You have to sit on cue. It's part of, Brotherhood of Steel rules.
Yeah.
Brotherhood of bar stools.
And you have to buy a drink. Because I tried just, blowing the bartender off, and he was like, nope, if you want to progress the quest, you need to buy a drink.
Same thing, Ray. I accidentally exited out of that conversation early and got into like a regular conversation with him, and it didn't work. I'm like, oh, right, I have to restart this conversation and pick the one I'm supposed to pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear you. I was going into photo mode. That's why. I was partway into the conversation. I'm like, oh, I got to take a picture. So, I press the menu, bring it up, it kicks me out of the conversation. I have to redo the whole thing. But yeah, so you can talk to him and you talk to Romani about the Blue Ridge Caravan. But this is a little get to know you time with Romani too, where, she's willing to like kind of talk and apparently ream you out if you're Sulior. What did you say to check her
I flirted with
off?
her with my main character. And
didn't
she was
go
actually
so well.
pretty receptive to it. Well, no, that my main character, I sided with her. So she was a little bit friendlier with that one. But Pyro, no. she didn't
his charisma of one didn't work its magic on her, or it did. But,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not in the way he wanted. So.
But yeah, so you got a conversation tree there with, you can talk to her about various things. You can find out a little bit more about, her and Shin's past, find out a little bit more about the incident, but she's willing to talk about more than that too. You can talk to her about her, time with Brotherhood of Steel and where she came up. And you find out that she was actually, she was big in the National Guard before, and she and Knight Connors worked together in the National Guard, and that's where they were before they joined up. Is it National Guard or Coast Guard? I think it was National Guard, right?
National Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Sounds
you
right.
know, and she talks about how she has kind of, for a long time, butt heads with the elders a bit. That, she has her own way of doing things and approaching things. And she agrees a lot with the elders have to say, but also has her own things. And she says part of the reason she was sent on this mission, she imagines, was because they just wanted to get rid of her dissenting voice for a bit. That, that she's a paladin and she's somewhat respected in the ranks and she has people who listen to her, but they wanted to, just get her out of their hair for a bit. And they might be surprised to know that, they survived and lived all the way here, which interesting perspective, but it makes sense. I mean, traveling cross country, yeah, there's absolutely no guarantee. Even with, a paladin and a couple of knights and a scribe and all the equipment they had that they would make it safely. It's a arduous journey across the U.S. But so you get that there. And then you get your drink. And so you end up having a toast at the end. And I believe, you also talking about Knight Connors and you learn more about him and his history of the Coast Guard and that, Shin looked up to him as a bit of a mentor. She looked at him as a peer and they'd worked together for a long time, closest friend. Valdez really liked him. Like everybody liked him and he was kind of the glue that held the group together. So when he died and, Shin blames Romani for it a bit, that's kind of when things started falling apart a bit in their relationship. But then you can end up toasting somebody. So you could toast Knight Connor. You could toast you could toast to the Brotherhood. You could toast to Knight Shin.
Toast yourself. Toast the
Romani.
bartender.
Romani, yep.
Toast the random guy at the end of the bar. You can.
Yeah. Well, is that who you chose? Who did you toast, Andrew?
I tried to do Romani and she refused.
She was embarrassed. She's too
modest.
Exactly. Modest is the word I was looking for. I toasted Knight Shin. Because we were talking about
Romani,
sort of twist that knife a little bit.
Well, and that's exactly what happened. So it's funny because I'm thinking we had this good conversation. I'm like, yeah, when we're talking about how Daniel, how he's got a good heart, but he's gotten more stubborn. And so like, to Knight Shin as far as like helping him through this and finding his way. And when I did that, she's like, you know how to twist a knife a little, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I am not here to cause you unhappiness. We're supposed to be a team. I'm trying to increase team unity, not divide us. But anywho, how about you guys? Ray, who did you toast? Did you just do nobody?
I did Connors.
There you go. I think he was deserving.
It's probably from the story she just told. Probably makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Did. So after that, you guys are able to go upstairs. You go upstairs and talk to Joanna Mayfield. So you end up walking by Ares, which, by the way, Ares is cool. I forgot how much dialogue he had in this quest. It's
Ares was great.
Yep. It's fun, all the dialogue they gave him in this quest. And you can talk to him plenty before this, too. But as you walk upstairs, he's like, oh, here comes trouble. And you go to Joanna Mayfield. And so there's a bit of a tete-a-tete, a bit of a standoff between Romani and Joanna Mayfield, she runs the Blue Ridge Caravan here. Vinny is her second in command. She's the one actually in charge. And Romani thinks she's so cool and subtle. And so she's just like, yeah, we have a meeting. I'm here to talk to you about this. And how did that go for you guys?
She just calls her on it.
Yeah. Joanna recognized what was going on right away.
I'm pretty sure you're not fooling anybody. You're definitely not fooling me. So.
Yeah, I like that. Joanna is definitely down to brass tacks a bit. But I mean, so is the Paladin. The Paladin is coming on a bit strong. She is clearly suspicious of the Blue Ridge, that that there's more going on than they're admitting to. And when Joanna says, I'm just going to speak plainly, and she comes out talking about it, she's like, yes, we are concerned about people missing. We are aware of the missing. I wasn't being truthful with you when I told you. And Romani, of course, says, well, why wouldn't you be? And assumes the worst. And Joanna tries to explain that it was an eternal matter. She wanted to get some real answers first because it wouldn't look good for them. And Romani agrees it doesn't look good for them. And she's pretty suspicious. But, they talk a bit and they end up at the point where Joanna gives all the information she has that they had actually lost 15 people on the last caravan bringing folks into the Commonwealth. And they're shocked that it's so many. You know what I mean? Because we weren't aware that it was so many. But she calls Ares over to give some specific details there. And Ares talks about how it happened, that it was over by this tunnel they use, over by the Harper's Ferry Bridge. There's a train tunnel there that he knew about from back in the day. and a great way to ferry people kind of, through the mountains and through the area to get them safely into Appalachia. But that from what he heard, the last mission there went completely missing. And so he'd been there after, investigated a little bit, and shut the place down. So she offers you Ares help to go and find the location. If I recall right, Romani wasn't, super happy about the idea of Ares coming along. She definitely doesn't trust him. In fact, she whispers to you, like, he looks like, he looks like a bit of a, I don't know.
She makes you totally paranoid.
She does.
She really does.
Like, obviously, he is actually a guard, but I think she uses something stronger than guard talking about him in the phrasing. But essentially saying, that he is probably here to, attack us or put us down, be on your guard around him. But he wants to meet us and show us the way over to the train tunnels. So that's what we end up doing. And yeah, Lee mentions in chat that the fact, he doesn't show his face, he wears a mask all the time. It does make you, kind of suspicious of him. Very sus.
Yeah. And he's supposed to be letting you through this door. And so I was expecting to go through the door and have him close it behind us and being trapped, But yeah, no, it wasn't that bad.
Yep. Yeah. So you show up at the train tunnel, which I got there because I haven't been to many places in the mire. Once again, I'm my character is opening stuff up as we go through the quests. I was able to get kind of nearby. I figured I could fast travel to. There was a best build, but it was still kind of west of Berkeley there. So I still had a lot of ground to cover and kind of dangerous for Hard Knock, but we made it there, down to the river, around the river, and then up. If you actually cross the water under the bridge, there is some steps, some stairs going up to the top of the bridge. That way you don't need to go through Harper's Ferry itself or in the area where you're going to be attacked by the super mutants. So got into the door, and you meet Romani just inside, and then Ares, and talk to them. And yeah,
I was super surprised how close to the entrance you could plop your survival tent down. Did anyone else by chance try that? And then,
no.
And then did you try to fast travel to that spot back after, getting your ass whooped and having to come back with power armor stuff? When you try to fast travel back to that spot, you are inside the mountain underneath it. So you're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? So you walk
you can walk right through the wall a little bit. Yep.
And then you fall through the earth. And then you're like, wait a second, and then you load back on your tent. You're like, holy shit, what happened?
It all depends on where you place the tent and load in that first time. I've seen a number. That's actually a kind of prime camp building location. A lot of people like building camps on the Harper's Ferry Bridge there, and you can get really close to the door, like you're saying. So when they set it up, where you spawn on the fast travel, sometimes you do spawn just inside the edge of the cliff, like behind.
Yeah, you do.
Because
I was like, where
there's
am
the
I?
actual cliff, and then there's the visual part of the cliff that you kind of poke your head through.
But there's also that neat little crag on the way up where there's sort of stuff back in there. It's like, ooh, this would be fun. I bet you Jess knows if you can. I was like, I didn't even try, but I was like, oh, I wonder if you can plop your little camp thing down in here. That'd be a fun little
You can overlap
crag.
with it. 100% overlap with it.
That'd be a cool little spot.
Yeah. You get the stairs in the back on up there. So no, it's a great place to build. Another great place to build there is underneath the bridge on those pylons. There's, the concrete platforms that the pylons are sitting on.
Nice.
Those are great for a camp. And obviously nothing really attacks you because of water. So
right.
It's convenient.
Hey,
I have a camp nearby there, but not exactly where the train bridge is. I've got one that's right by this other bridge where there's a hermit crab right there.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really neat place to build.
How about the campground down south of Foundation, where there's a big lake with the Mirelurk Queen, but there's a little cave that you can sort of swim underwater, and there's this cool little interior cave. Can you put a camp there? I've always wanted to try that too, and I've never actually tried. Do you know that, Jess? You know what I'm talking about specifically?
Are you talking about the honeybeast cave? I didn't quite catch what you were describing first.
Down south of Foundation, there's a big ass Mirelurk
Where you do the
You're
Yeah.
talking about
the swimming
Spruce
test.
Knob.
Right, yeah, Spruce Knob, exactly, where you do the swimming
right, but
test.
down below at the lake.
Yeah, there's like a little cave that you can swim under and the stuff.
You
There's
can get in there and get the resources in there too. You can build in
But
that cave.
You can? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I totally want to do that.
Yeah, if you position it properly, you can get a good up and down camp along the wall, build in the cave, and have some exterior
Oh,
stuff
that's
up
so
top
fun.
too.
That's so fun.
Mhm.
All right, sorry I interrupted.
location.
Let's get back.
No, well, speaking of caves, we are
to
currently in a train tunnel.
What's it called? Harper's Ferry. Back to Harper's Ferry.
So you go in there and meet Ares, and she's very suspicious of Ares from the start. So every time they have a conversation, she's a bit accusatory towards Ares. That he's probably up to no good and that he may have something to do with the disappearance. She's very suspicious. You can tell she's already kind of made her mind. I mean, she says she's keeping an open mind, but for the most part, she's made it up. So you follow him through, and Ares talks a bit about the location as you go in. So first, you're going through a few rooms. Excuse me, and you have to fight off, a couple of ghouls and the usual. And you get to a room there, which I think we can spoil here because people know. Most people have done the additional the 7 daily quests that you can get from Vinny with the Blue Ridge Caravan, and I think we've talked about it before. But Ares actually has. Oh, Lee's never done them, so we're not going to spoil it. But if you watch what he does here when he uses a calendar secret code to get in someplace, and he says, "I'll get in there in 2 shakes of a lamb squatch tail." Both of those things are kind of clues to what Ares is. But you talked about, how he knows the area so well. He says he used to live here, and he knew some people who worked this facility, and that's how he knows about it. So you open that up, and you get in and through the secret passage, and you go deeper in, and you walk right through tunnels. You fight a few ghouls, and then you come up to a larger room with a giant metal door. But as you're going in, you see there are vines growing to the left of you, vines to the right, and here you are stuck in the middle with Ares. And he's trying to get into the door, but he can't. He's pounding, checking the terminal. No, it's locked down. And he says, essentially, he had to leave in a hurry before. And so there's good news. Hey, this is the door we need to get through. Bad news. These vines have grown up completely. The only way that we can reset things is get in the pump room. And the vines have grown up, blocking our way into the pump room. And they've done that because of a gas leak. You're like, wait, gas leak? And he's like, I believe he says that he had to damage a boiler or something to cause a gas leak in order to get the door to shut down emergency lockdown to keep them from following him. So he triggered this himself in order to stop, people from following because of the danger. He didn't want other visitors. So this train tunnel had been used for the Blue Ridge for a while, right, for caravans. And the idea here is after the caravan went missing and he came back and investigated, he found there were ghouls here. He was worried about other attacks and people getting themselves into trouble. So he specifically locked it down so people couldn't get in there to the old campsites.
Yeah. Now, when you get into this, this tunnel, it's when you realize that Romani might be a paladin, but she's no Boy Scout because evidently she didn't bring a damn gun or her glaive.
She had a gun when I was
standing around.
playing with her. She had a little pistol that she was running around with, but she did not use it once
Not
the entire time. Yeah, thank you, Pug.
She couldn't fit it in her civvies. She could not fit it in her little civilian outfit, I guess. Yeah, no, it's she doesn't help you fight the ghouls on the way. She doesn't help you fight things as we go further in. So she'll tag along. She'll offer some advice and commentary. So the idea is you need to figure out how to get to the pump room. So, there's multi-parts to this. You get in one location, you find clues. You learn that there is possibly they developed, one of the people who lived here before had developed a kind of like plant killer. What's the word? Herbicide? An herbicide that will help weaken the vines so you can get through. But now you need to find more about it. So you go in, and the pug needs a talking to. So I'll be right back.
Yeah. So when you go through that story, you find out that he had originally, he put in a low dose enough that the humans that also drank the water because he introduced it into the water system. They managed just fine, but then the vines grew tolerant to it. And so he had to up the dose. Next thing, everybody's puking.
Right. They're getting ill. They're not sure why. And there's even some comments here and there as you learn about it that people have trouble remembering the passcode. And I feel like we're all getting dumber. They didn't realize what was happening with this going back into the water system. And it has to do with the way it was set up, right, Ray? That there was a backflow pipe that maybe shouldn't have been there that reintroduces the recycling into the external water sprinkler system.
Yeah. So they were, slowly but surely, as they up the poison level for the vines, were poisoning themselves.
Do you know why vines form really poor security barriers?
Why?
Because they only last 6 seconds.
Oh my God, that took me a minute.
Yeah.
Damn, Daniel, backing in with the white vans.
I never
played.
looked at Vine. It was around, but I got that.
And was it 9 seconds? I couldn't remember his 9 seconds.
No, it was 6 seconds. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah. Lee is going to ask in chat what we're talking about. The Vine video service. The little 6-minute short video pre-TikTok.
6
Yeah,
second,
it was the
I think.
predecessor to
It was
TikTok.
yeah. Sorry, my bad.
So anyway, you explore, you get this information. Ultimately, you find a room where there seems to be the chemicals and stuff in a behind a cell. There's some pretty good fighting on the way there too. You got to break through some stuff. In order to get in there, you need to pass a lock. So you have to find a terminal that explains kind of what their code system was, another written note about it, etc. And that's where you learn more about what happened with them and, their code. It's a very advanced code, by the way. See, they number the letters, but then they flip it and reverse it. So A is 26 and Z is 1. Never would have guessed.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out how to break the code, which isn't too hard. You go ahead and do that. Get in there and you now get the herbicide mixture. So you can start making your way back and you can actually start cutting through vines on the other doors on the other side to make your way to the pump room.
You got to find the water source, right?
Yeah. Yep. You got to find the water supply so you can actually get it reintroduced and weaken the vines. So, is that what you do next? I feel like we started
more steps.
Yeah, once you have the chemicals, then you have to go introduce it into the water system so that it can spray it on the vines. And that's when you start getting the hordes of ghouls.
Yeah,
right.
You fight through like 2 or 3 hordes of ghouls.
Yeah.
Because we can break through the vines. That's why I was confused for a second, because you have to shoot through and break vines to go through a lot of these doors. Like you're shooting through a lot of vines on the way there.
Right. We already broke through
No,
some,
not until after you've done the water pump thing.
Not until after. Okay.
So
you get it in there.
Okay.
You get to the pumps, and it says verifying integrity, and hostile robotic entity. You cannot open it because there's a hostile robotic entity in there. Now, while you're going in here, you also hear some noises that sound a bit like so you're already concerned, especially if you know what is up. If you recognize that sound,
I was like, wait, was there an actual sheep squatch in here? I mean, he did kind of make a little bit of a joke, 2 shakes of a lamb squatch tail.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, is there an actual sheep squatch down here? So I'm like, okay, that's not a huge deal.
Yeah,
yep.
that would have been a lot easier.
Yeah, I would rather fight a sheep squatch.
But
I'd rather
after the
fight
alert,
10 sheep squatches.
You turn around and there is a pasta sheep squatch over in the corner. Now, to be fair, they call it a pasta ling. Like, it's not as tough as the real pasta sheep squatch. It's a pasta ling sheep squatch.
Might as well,
so still got the head cannon running around. So, these yahoos, and it's tough. I remember it's tough. In fact, here's the ironic thing. If y'all might remember, I was talking last summer, or beginning of summer, about new players coming in, new characters, everybody playing through. And I ran into this one character who I was getting friendly with, and they started messaging me, hey, can you help with Robot? I said, sure, I'll help with Robot. He was like level 30. I fast traveled with him to help with Robot, and it was the damn imposter sheep squatch down here. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy in over your head. Who would do that? Well, here I am with Hard Knock doing the same thing at level 35. He was like level 32 at the time. So I wasn't quite 35 yet. But I found I actually did okay between my armor and kiting the imposter sheep squatch. So I would, run towards them and then up the ramp and around by the pump and down through the banisters, the guardrails, and then back around. And then by running in a circle and up and down and then turning around and vatsing and getting a few good shots on the imposter sheep squatch, it took a while. What you had to do though, because these imposter sheep squatch, the actual attack would do about a quarter of my health on a good hit.
That's it.
But the base beam, the head cannon, the of doom, that when that charged up and hits you, that like starts melting your health, and it's just like ding, 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 right down. But I found as long as I didn't stand in front of it, as long as you were aware that was about to happen, and you did not try to shoot it or fight while he was getting really close to charging up, you just moved real fast. It usually took like maybe 10% of my health because I'd be out of the beam quick enough. But the couple times it caught me in the beam, I did get down to like 20%. I did get pretty close to dead.
Thing one-shotted me so many freaking times. It's not even funny. And the thing is, like, I've got a piece of I've got full Secret Service armor, and one of the pieces is troubleshooting. And I went in with a handmade and a holy fire. Those did absolutely nothing to this thing.
With Assaultrons, a lot of times a great strategy is focusing on the legs and stuff to get them on the ground, but you can't do that with this one. They're too durable. So I was using my fixer and then my explosive handmade a bit, and it took a long time, but somehow, I'll admit, I jacked up on the medics. I took medics ahead, and I actually had some psycho buff tats. So that helps a little bit. Hard Knock has never done such a thing in his life. Well, now he has. So yeah, we did psycho buff tacks and like 2 or 3 rounds of the medics while we were fighting and running. So that definitely made a difference, and might be why I survived.
So Lee is actually mentioning a Gatling plasma. That's what I actually had to do. I went back to my camp and repaired everything, and I actually had a 1-star troubleshooting Gat Plas. I think I even got that at Dagger's Den. That might have been, or somehow I'd gotten that. I'm like, all right, I might need this at some point. Even with that, it took a while, and I still died a few times because, again, it was just doing so much damage to me. But, like you were saying, ducking and covering, and I think that actually worked really well. I would have appreciated some distraction from Romani, but she was absolutely useless.
Yeah, she's not lifting a gun here. Like Ray was saying, this is where it was really apparent to me. Like before, it's like whatever, but here, no, she's just running around like not even helping. Like occasionally saying, "Oh, we'll get near the end soon." If you're trying to talk to her, she's like, "Yeah, we'll get near the end soon." Like, woman, we are at the end. It's about to be the end of both of us if you don't do something.
So she had a pistol. Like she could have done something.
I think
she didn't even have that at mine.
I think on the 7th or 8th time that I was in the death animation when it was like the camera spinning around me, I swear I looked over and saw her ask the imposter sheep squatch for an autograph.
She was enjoying it just a little too much. Thanks for the show, imposter
Would
sheep
you
squatch.
please help? Hello, I'm dead over here.
But yeah, so I think I'm wondering if maybe, yes, medics and the psycho buff tats also keeping moving a lot and not letting it get any direct hits with the head cannon much. A couple times it happened. But I'm wondering if the level scaling has something to do with it for me too.
Yeah,
because I was in my 30s. And I remember even fighting this one before with my main character, that she would melt me down to half health with a head cannon, no problem, even on, my level 300. So yeah, maybe it was scaled a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky. I didn't die over and over again like y'all.
My instinct was
I'm about the same level as you, Jess, and there's a big pump in the middle of the room, and I got up on top of that.
Oh, good.
And so it couldn't hit me. And then whenever I'd just sit there I just have a little plasma pistol, and so I'm plinking away. My main weapon is an absolute crap ton of ammo. And so, I'm shooting away at this thing. You see the bar just barely move a pixel at a time. And as soon as it would charge up, I would drop down to the other side and it would stop, run around, to try to get me on the other side of the pump. I'd jump back up on top of the pump, start plinking it again. As soon as it started to charge up, I dropped to the other side, and I just kept doing that back and forth until I finally, wore it out.
I'm glad it worked for
I was
you. Yeah,
even
I
trying
mean,
to
we took slow and
like,
steady.
I was even trying to get it like a little bit of an advantage thing. I was like, yeah, I can just shoot it from this platform that we go down into there from. No, there's another freaking stairway. This thing actually snuck up behind me when I was like,
Mm,
okay, I'm just, but
So did you make it through without dying then, Ray? For the most
yeah.
part?
Yeah.
High five. Good
Yeah.
job. Okay.
no humble brag at all from both of y'all.
Now
Feeling pretty
I-
good. I was scared. I was scared, I'll admit.
That's what I was saying. Like, I was like, I logged in and I was like, hey, you need any like stim packs or anything I can drop you? So I'm just like, oh, I actually got through just fine.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, Sillior messaged me about 5 minutes after I finished this mission. I'm like, yeah, I'm just wrapping up with Romani now.
I was like,
He had
I'm just
stopped in
doing
the
my
server.
dailies. I'm on my main character, so I got plenty of like
Mhm.
drugs and ammo and everything if you need it. And
But
it's like,
so
I did just fine. I'm like,
I had to use several stem packs because I didn't have any bodies to snack on.
That's true.
yeah,
How
no
many-
bodies up on the pumps.
How many real sheep squatches do you think it would take to defeat an imposter sheep squatch?
a lot.
3. I think it would
Just
take maybe 3.
That's it? Really? I was thinking like
I mean,
10 or more.
they hit hard. They can stagger you. And I think between the stagger attack, they would keep them from getting off. Because as hard as those head lasers are, you've got a good 10 seconds between each head laser or so. I feel
That'd
like
feel
Sure,
like
that
a-
ground pound attack.
real
that
sheep
does
squatches
probably,
are pretty tough. Yeah. But I don't know. You'd have to disable the pylon in order to the real one. You'd have to, disable the cloaking device
yeah,
to even hit it.
I didn't mean to do all that shit. What could you imagine the sheep squatches? I got this pylon over here. You hilarious.
So after you get all of this and you finally defeat it, you can then, get the pumps working and get the mixture introduced. And this is when you can actually go back to Ares, let them know, and get the door open. And Ares lets you into the caravan site from here. So the caravan site is actually pretty cool. There's a number of tents set up, and you can tell there are people camping here multiple times because they had obviously, done this. This was like the stopping point multiple times through. But also the last group here that was all kidnapped and disappeared, they didn't have time to, pull down all their equipment because they were taken. So you have to investigate why. You go through, you can find a number of pieces of evidence investigating the caravan site. I think there is a holotape that you can get a recording from. What is it? Is it like 2 notes and a holotape, or 2 holotapes and a note? I don't have.
I think
the
it's
exact,
two notes and a holotape. I think.
Yeah. So one of them, you find out that you get a list of everybody here too. One of the good things you find is a kind of a list of everyone who was on the various trips. Notes back and forth where they're like, who's with us, and then it was signed off, verified, complete, everybody made it safe, blah, blah, blah. And so there are 4 trips you're looking at here. So the first one, you see a few names you might even recognize from various things, different merchants. I think Minerva is actually on that first one.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, the manifest that she traveled with them and a few other people traveling. And, and then it says who the guard was for that one, and pretty much everyone made it safe. Then the next one, one person disappeared, and they're marked as lost. I think it was 1 or 2, and everybody made it safe. And there are 4 trips that you find the itinerary for. I guess you would call it passenger manifest. I mean, not really passengers because they're not riding anything; it's a caravan. And so the second and third time, 1 or 2 people went missing each time. But there was various guards. You had, it wasn't Eugenie, but the various guards. And then the final one, the 4th trip. Everyone was lost, and there's no sign off as verified on the bottom because everyone was missing. And so you get that kind of back and forth little sign in sheet manifest thing. I don't have that actual message saved, but you start to notice a common thread on these, right?
Yeah. So 3 of the 4 manifests include the same name.
Mm-hmm.
And also the girl that you are, helping find, the niece. I think she's the one with the holotape where she talks.
Yeah,
maybe
Cassie's
it's her note.
holotape.
where they talk about how, the creepy bald guy that keeps, looking at her.
I think that's what it is, right? So you find Cassie's note there, and she's kind of talking about the trip so far, and she mentions, the creepy bald doctor. So now you have Dr. Edgar Blackburn, or E. Blackburn, on three of these notes, and then you have Cassie talking about a creepy doctor. And then the last one you find is something from the Caravan Guard, right? I believe you find a note from the Caravan Guard or a holotape. And
where they were attacked by mercenaries.
Yeah, and he's describing kind of what happened. A rad storm came in, and they had to set up camp, and they were stuck there. They were stuck inside for an extra day. And then these mercenaries showed up, and from both Cassie's letter and the guard's letter, you see that the doctor seemed to know them. They were talking, and then next thing Cassie saw, they had taken away the guard's gun, and they were collecting all the people. And from the guard's perspective, like, he didn't trust the doctor, and then this happened. And so you realize that what likely happened as you put the story together was that they were going to continue to kidnap. These were Hellcat mercenaries, going to continue to kidnap a person or two from each of these, that somehow the doctor would try to get separated or what have you. But in this case, because everybody got stuck in a rad storm, they just captured everybody and brought them into holding. And so you show all this evidence to Romani, and she goes through it, and she, then kind of quizzes you on what you got from it. So this is the game being like, hey, did you pay attention? Did you read what you actually gave you? Which I'm sorry, right? But but yeah, so there's little, 20 questions. You go through and you answer properly. And she's like, yeah, I agree with your findings. And oh, yeah, I thought this. And, you can kind of agree or disagree with her, but work your way through and put the whole picture together. And then she immediately says, okay, so it wasn't the Blue Ridge Caravan. It does appear that this Dr. Blackburn, she remembers him from seeing his name in your notes. And you can say, yes, I saw him. Because he's the one that we met on that very first Brotherhood mission when we're talking to various people, for Night Shin, finding out what they're there for. He's the one that's like, I'm here looking for advanced technology, but my needs aren't as pressing as some of these people. And so he'll step back. And then, of course, at this point, he may have already found the facility at that point, or he may find the facility shortly after. I'm not sure which, but that'll be the next quest.
Yeah. Now, if you happen to just collect all the info and not pay attention to it, when you discover that there is a quiz, Romani has neatly laid those notes out on the cabinet right next to her.
Oh,
so you can exit the conversation and go read
them. Did you stick around and listen to the conversation between Ares and Romani afterward?
Well, because that's all part of it, right? Well, Romani says, she feels bad for, accusing Ares and being so suspicious. And, you can talk to her about that too, even before their conversation, and say, maybe you should apologize to Ares, or I think you were being a little bit judgmental and hard-headed here. And she admits, this is where she admits again, she's like, I do tend to rush to judgment and rush to action sometimes. But yeah, she will apologize to Ares. And Ares like, water under the bridge.
Yeah, and then he's like, since we're all buddy-buddy now, is there any way I can use some of those Hellcat missile launchers?
Right.
She's like, yeah, no.
I heard you guys had some pretty fancy, missile launchers and such.
Yeah, I actually really like Ares. He's good.
He's got some really funny lines during all this. Like, he's definitely good comedy relief throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can come down and let her know that she was being way too hard on him, or you can, be a little bit more reasonable about it. But either way, you talk to him after. He's just like, yeah, I hope you found what you needed, and I'll see you back at the Blue Ridge. And so now you can fast travel back to Fort Atlas and meet up with Romani, and that concludes this mission. But Andrew didn't see this because Andrew was dead.
I'm still dead.
Still dead. So, next mission is a satisfied conscience. And this one starts when you're back at Fort Atlas. So you go back to Fort Atlas, you meet up with Paladin Romani to kind of check in and report. And she is there meeting with Night Shin and Scribe Valdez to figure out next moves, what they ought to do next. And Valdez is still, got the info from the Pip Boy. She's gotten more information from it. And she has found out information about a vault that seems suspicious, Vault 96. Night Shin. So this conversation was funny for me because Night Shin wasn't actually there. He was down. You know how he hangs out in that room below with the crafting benches? So he was talking from down there. So I had like Romani and Shin in front of me, like chatting it up, and then Shin's like yelling from the corner. Well, he's like muffled. He's like, "I think we should blah blah blah." You like barely hear him. It was hilarious. But he, he did his part of the conversation from down there. But yeah, so from the Pip Boy, if I remember right, so Valdez finds out about Vault 96 and that originated from Vault 96, and she doesn't really know what it's there for, but it might be a good lead to investigate. Armani and Shin decide the same thing because they think that Blackburn was somehow in Vault 96. Now, did we find that out from the Hellcat mercenary information?
I think so, yeah.
I know Shin wants you to go there to secure any technology. He says, this is a priority. Let's, get the technology from there to prevent someone from like Blackburn from getting a hold of it. Romani herself is suspicious that Blackburn that is a lead to actually find Blackburn. And either way, Valdez, she doesn't really know what the vault is about. So yeah, I guess I might need to re-listen to some of this because I don't remember how they came to the agreement, but they all agreed that in the end, this was maybe the best course for you.
Yep.
And so Valdez says, I'll meet you there. The vault will have an emergency transponder. So when you get there and you get in, check it out and then signal me and I'll come and join you. So you get down to 96. For this, this is like I mentioned, Celia had messaged me and I was wrapping the last question. I'm like, hey, I don't really want to fast travel. I mean, I don't really want to hike all the way down to Vault 96. Would you mind if you're on with here, maybe go down there and I'll fast travel on you?
She was using me for free fast travel. It was fun.
You were on the server at that point.
Yeah, I was just like, hey, you need any help? I can load you up with some supplies. So, yeah, why don't you join me for the last one? It's like, cool.
Exactly. So basically all the ties. Right. Okay. Well, here's what we found. The clue they found suggests Vault 96 may be tied to the missing people. It may be tied to the Superman attacks and Dr. Blackburn. So like all the clues kind of point there. And Shin just wants you to, get the technology if there is any. So you get down there, you get in, and you signal Valdez to come up. But while you're getting in there and investigating, you actually find that the Hellcat mercenaries near the entrance are dead. There's one or two dead on the floor, and then there's one dead deeper in. You can actually talk to one who's barely clinging on, and she lets you know they were attacked by blood eagles who are deeper in the vault. And, she's a bit cynical, and you try to help her, but she says she's dying, and then she does. But she says, give him hell, and hopefully, you can, not necessarily revenge us, but take care of those blood eagles that came in. So Valdez goes in, and she is trying to hack into the system.
I did make sure she didn't die in vain.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait.
She topped off my hydration meter.
She's like a little blood pack for you, right?
So fresh.
Totally fresh, fresher than the others. So Valdez finds that there is a security lockdown that has sealed off the rest of the vault from the entrance. But Valdez manages to get the entrance open. We've got to work our way through bit by bit because the entire vault is on lockdown. And about this time, I believe that we actually hear. Do we hear Blackburn
talk? Yeah, once you get inside, he starts talking to you over the intercom, telling you to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just warning you back. But of course, we push bravely forward. So we've got it. There's like 3 or 4 parts to this. You basically push through the vault section by section. So you have to get to a section you can actually reach because it's not closed off. You have to look for clues about what happened here, and you have to take care of them. So first, you shoot and kill all the blood eagles in the atrium, and you find some notes there, and you get a little bit of stuff, and Blackburn talks to you. Then you have to run over to the mainframe area, find your way down there, and kill off both blood eagle and robots, because of course the security defenses of the vault have been activated too. So the security robots are fighting the blood eagles, and you got to take out both of them for the most part.
Yeah, and turrets too.
And you get more notes, and this is where, between a couple of terminals and holotapes, you find a lot of holotapes here as the clues as you go through. You get a little bit more of the background of what Vault 96 was, which was a cryogenic facility, which, of course, it's all frozen now. That's malfunctioned. And the official idea was that it was Noah's Ark. They were preserving a lot of classic species of animal and creature to kind of reintroduce the wasteland to kind of keep from mutations from going too far. Reintroducing healthy stock was the nominal reason for it, to preserve creatures as they were supposed to be. However, the for your eyes only scientist thing, the real idea of the vault was to experiment on all these creatures, capture and bring in more from the outside to
compare the two.
Compare them, exactly.
There were snallies in there.
Yep. Create super species, create animals that could survive better in here, whatever mutations were required. And then, how that can apply to humans, hopefully, in the end, was what their thing. But, of course, Blackburn, you also get his notes on the way, too. And Blackburn discovered the facility after it was dead and empty and frozen. But it's perfect for him to do his trials on, because there are already some creatures and specimens here that he can work on for whatever he's working on to help save humanity. At this point, you don't know what it is. So that's after the mainframe room. You got to go to the reactor room. You get more Blood Eagles, more clues, fight them, and all that. Well, the next area you got to get to is blocked off, and there's an intercom. When you get close to the door, you actually hear a voice.
It's Cricket.
It's Cricket. Yeah, it's Tally. So Tally, you also met in that first mission. They're bringing all those people from the very first. It seemed convenient at the time mission in Steel Dawn, and so you kind of know her. So at that point, you can basically get in. She can help you get in, but you can threaten to kill her. You can make a deal with her. You can do various things.
So it was interesting when I was going through this as Pyro, because she was actually hitting on me a little bit. And then when I'm talking to Valdez, she's like, "Wait, you brought somebody with you? Do I need to be jealous?" Like, girl, you were trying to kill me a few minutes ago. But sure, yeah, whatever floats your boat.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Tally is with the Blood Eagles, and she's actually, not an officer, but she's one of the leaders of this group of Blood Eagles. And so she has a security key card. They found a security key card to get in through any door in the facility. And you can basically get her to promise to give it to you if you help her get out of there, because they are stuck. They are kind of walled in this room, blocked in, and there are a bunch of killer robots trying to get them. So you get in, and you either have to fight them and the robots, depending on what you decided, or you can help them fight the robots. And I think she has 2 or 3 people with her. They're all named Blood Eagles.
Yeah.
So Hard Knock chose to kind of make a deal with her, like, "Hey, I'll let you out if you give us that key card. We'll help you out." Because she's willing to talk. My thought here was she had talked to us before. She's willing to talk here. I mean, Blood Eagles we kill them for the most part because they never want to negotiate. You know what I mean?
They shoot on sight, so you have
right. Exactly. There's no choice here. But if Tally's willing to talk and negotiate, we can get something from her. Yeah, let's negotiate. Let's do that. And plus, Valdez says, if you make a deal with her, like, I'm not sure what Night Shin would think about that. But, honestly, like, I may be one of Shin's favorites, but we killed a good, 30, 40 Blood Eagles through in this place. Letting 3 or 4 go in exchange as a deal for a key card, I think, is going to be fine. We don't need to kill them all.
I told her, like, she was like, they knew what they were signing up for. It sucks, but what can you do?
Yep. So they're in the cryonics lab. So you help them out. You kill all the robots. There's a lot more waves here. A lot of handies. They're not gutsies, though, right? They're just handies. They're tough handies, but they're not over the top.
They sounded like gutsies. They're like, did somebody get their ass kicked? And
Robo Brains.
Yeah, some of them were gutsies, and I don't remember seeing any Robo Brains in here. Did you?
I don't remember Robo Brains. I remember Protectrons and gutsies.
I think that might have just been it, but it could be based on level too. Like maybe there was some different ones for you, right?
I mean, I did go through it twice, so so yeah, I don't remember Robo Brains. I would have remembered hearing them.
Yeah, unless it was in one of the later sections. I definitely had Robo Brains, but I'm not that high a level. I think I'm 34, 35 at the most.
Okay. So once you kind of fight them off, Tally will deals a deal, give you the card. And you got to find more evidence here in the room to get through. So you kind of learn at this point that Blackburn ran out of creatures to test on, and so he has started using people, started having people abducted to develop an improved version of the FEV virus. Essentially, he's trying to help everybody survive better in the wasteland. You know, make us tougher, stronger, able to survive. However, it's been going very poorly, as FEV experiments pretty much always do. And he has been, a lot of the side effect has been he's created more super mutants in the wasteland. He's had to, release them. Ones that didn't die, he managed to get out of there before they got too bad. That's why the weird looking mutants he fought earlier in the Uncanny Caverns, they were all part of this, his weird hybrids. But over time, he's getting closer and closer. And you finish these notes, and then you get into the research wing. And this is where it gets grody, because now you're actually seeing the results of some of these experiments. A lot of dead bodies, people on gurney tables, a lot of blood, all that nonsense. It's pretty gross. And Blackburn, of course, is as you walk in, because he jumps in on the intercom here and there, and he says, "I regret what you're about to see. Just keep in mind, I did all this, for the betterment of humanity, but I'm not proud of what I've had to do, blah, blah, blah,"
Right.
along those lines. So you go through, you fight through, you actually find where the prisoners are finally. Cassie, and there are 3 others alive in there with her, I believe.
Yeah,
Behind the glass.
they're in a little worse condition than she is. She just has sledge lung.
Yeah. Wicked sledge lung. So you've got to figure out how to get the doors unlocked. You go through, and it's the same thing. I mean, each of these areas is basically just kind of progressive. And so once you get all the doors unlocked, you get in there, you can talk to her, and you find out what happened with them, that yes, they were kidnapped. Her name's Cassie Holloway, and he unlocks the cells from somewhere behind the stairs. So you find that. And once you get all that, you can usher them out. Well, they say they'll be okay and they can make it out. You can actually choose to give Cassie a stim pack or a disease cure. Yeah, which helps her out. And so they're going to leave, but of course they don't actually leave. And, they will. And they're going to make it. And so now you've got to get into the overseer's office in order to find Dr. Blackburn. Well, he's locked that out too, of course. Everything's locked out. Nothing is easy. You're getting every door. Free card doesn't work. So now you have to find a way in there, which we end up doing based on Valdez's suggestion that we end up cutting the hydraulic fluid, essentially, if I'm right, to the door. And
Yeah,
so
that's what
there
I
are
had
various
to
ways
do.
to
I
do
had to
it.
go find a machete somewhere because I
Yeah.
didn't have a sharp melee with on me.
So you find a console, and when you get to the console, you can a couple different checks. You can intelligence, figure out what's going on with it. You can strength, use the machete or I believe object to
Yeah, I use my ski
break it.
sword.
Yep. You can just bash it and smash it like without a
I
skill
tried
check. A
that.
couple
That
of
didn't
things
work
there.
for me either.
No, and I don't think that
strength
does.
isn't
I think you end up having to do some other way. So what's funny though, I didn't have the strength to do it, but Hard Knock had leveled during the previous fight, so I actually put a point in intelligence, and that plus my legendary was just enough, and Mentats was just enough to push me over the edge
That's
to
what you did.
get it.
I was
Yep.
about to offer some berry mentats to you if you needed
Yeah,
them, but
I
you-
had to
you
try.
did fine.
I had to
Yeah.
try twice. The first time I couldn't, and I'm like, I don't know what the number is. It doesn't tell you what the number is, but I took more, and it was got me through. So got in, and we finally make our way, and Blackburn is impressed at our tenacity, but we're too late. He had missed everything he's done. He would do it again. He, regrets the innocents had to be harmed. And you even kind of hear that. Like, it's mentioned by Cassie or whatever that, he would apologize while he was testing on them and stuff. But yeah, sorry. Sorry isn't good enough. And so you can learn a bit about his plan. And he says, but you're too late to stop me. It's already in motion. And he says he has associates currently finishing and rolling this out. And he won't tell you more. But you can ask all kinds of questions about what he did here and why. And he's he's the classic thing. He's willing to tell you some, but you don't get the whole plan per se. You don't know where the others are. And you don't know exactly what he wants to achieve or what he thinks he has achieved because he hasn't actually tested the final version from what he says. Like, sure, it's done in his mind. It's done, but it hasn't been tested. So we don't actually know that it's going to work. And I don't really want a super mutant up anyway. Not my idea of a good time. Like, I mean, I think his ideal variety would keep us mostly human, right? And just toughen us up
Yeah,
with
he
less
said that
mutations.
he like super mutants were never actually his plan. That they just kind of happened. Like he was just trying to make people more resistant to the environment.
Yeah, I
But
mean, Captain America was his plan.
Hmm.
He got Hulk.
Yeah.
Exactly. The whole super soldier classic thing. But he killed a lot of people on the way. So after that, you know, you're bringing justice. You got to go back and report to Romani like always. Valdez will stay with Blackburn until the recovery crew comes in to pick him up and take him back. And that wraps the quest for this week.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed Vault 96. So I posted a picture of this. This didn't happen when I went through on my own character, I don't think, but when Jess was talking to Blackburn, I noticed that once again there was a character that only had one arm.
Yeah, Valdez only had one arm.
Yeah.
So I did get a few pictures of that. But yeah, it's just she was just standing there without her left arm.
Totally fine for me. This is some weird, amusing glitch going on in Stelior's install. But yeah, it's perfectly normal for me.
Is it
But this
always
whole
the
thing-
same arm, or does it switch?
Yeah, it's always the
depending on...
left one.
Huh.
I
Interesting.
don't know what's causing it. I'm not upset about it. Like it doesn't really affect anything, but it's just yeah, I just happened to look over it and I'm like, you are missing an arm. I'm so sorry.
It's very strange looking. You know, it's odd, and it's not the gun arm though, because apparently there are no lefties in the wasteland from what I've seen. So
Yeah.
so they're not like trying to fire armless like Rayman, where it's like disembodied and detached. But
No.
but yeah, just story wise, you know, we've learned a lot more about what's going on here in Appalachia over these couple. You know, we discovered this whole pretty much the super mutant attacks and everything is kind of related to Blackburn and his experiments here. So the whole Steel Rain part of it is wrapping up with this with Blackburn. As far as the ties in with Steel Dawn, that was more about the Brotherhood getting established as a whole. So while they are completely connected stories that flow one into the other, they're also kind of separate. I mean, that was a lot of it was just prologue, learning about Romani, learning about Shin, helping the Brotherhood get established. We meet the War Party, which I kind of wonder if Bethesda was like, we introduced this whole group of raiders. It's got nothing really to do with them. Like, what are we going to do with them? And so they do the whole quest with the sister and, you know, down in the having to recover them. But they really don't seem to have a whole lot of point beyond that. It's just kind of texture, I suppose, expanding the lore of the area. But I'm definitely enjoying it. I thought these were fun. I thought the difficulty ramped up more than it did. I mean, obviously it ramped up some, but Vault 96 too is a cool location. We go there plenty in daily ops. If you do daily ops regularly, this is a pretty common location for them.
Yeah, that and Uncanny Caverns. Those are two really cool daily ops locations.
Yep. And neither of them were daily ops originally. You know, after this was introduced, it took, you know, a good 6 months or a year before they became daily ops locations. But they were good ones. And it's much easier during daily ops. You don't have to go terminal to terminal, note to note, unlocking rooms. That's good. Any other thoughts on today's quest, y'all?
I'll finish him.
No,
I'm going to go make some troubleshooter's armor, and I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hey, you know,
someone to come
only
with
I
you.
have a piece of it. Yeah, I was gonna say if you need help, I can run through.
I might have to flag someone down. Who knows?
Because Romani doesn't provide the distraction, so as long as you have somebody actually that can distract it a bit.
An
for
intricate trail of what are those mines that do electric damage with the
Plasma?
mortar rope?
Oh, pulse.
Tesla mines?
Pulse. Yeah.
Oh, the pulse ones, yeah.
I should go get some pulse mines or something. All right. No, I have no more thoughts on the quest. Either you guys, Ray, Eric. If not, we'll.
I mean, Sheep Squatch was a bitch, but I did enjoy 96.
When aren't they though? Right.
Yeah.
So let's give a call. Oversee what sort of news we have this week.
Jessica, to the office, please. Jessica to the office. Your iguana bits are ready. Please come pick them up. Thank you, Jess. So, in Iguana Bits this week, we don't have a whole lot of game news, but there is one serious kind of big story that many of us have been paying attention to all week. You may have seen in Discord or on Facebook or what have you. So, actor Wes Johnson, people know him as one of the main voices of Bethesda. You know, he's voiced so many classic characters in the Elder Scrolls and the Fallout games, Fallout series, and Starfield. Plays Ron Hope at Starfield. So Wes Johnson was going to a convention down in the Atlanta area. It was a benefit event for the National Alzheimer's Foundation down there. He went down to check in his hotel room, and he didn't show up at the event. And when he didn't show, of course, people got worried. After a while, they went to check on him, and they couldn't get into the room, and so hotel security had to get in. And he was in his hotel room unresponsive. So he got rushed to the hospital and the ICU. And this was actually, I mean, at this point, this was a good 10 days ago. The information didn't come out until around the 26th or 27th of the month. It was like 2 days in, like we didn't know immediately, you know, because it had to be confirmed. And obviously, news isn't going to spread immediately. But so he was in the hospital, in the ICU for several days. He had to be intubated, was not doing well. It was very worrisome. There was a fundraiser started and stuff to kind of help him and his wife, because he's had a number of health issues. And between that and the voice actor strikes and stuff like that, it's been hard times for them as far as that goes. And, you know, health insurance as an actor. Anyway, it's a whole thing. So people pitched in together to help the fundraiser. They were trying to raise $50,000. They actually raised over $200,000, I think. So help with his bills, help keep the family going. Obviously, he won't be able to work for a bit. But the good news, of course, out of all of this is that he is recovering. After a couple days, they were able to de-intubate him. He was still in the ICU. And then I believe 2 days ago, they said he was out of the weeds and he was going to be okay. And then yesterday he kind of poked out, took a couple pictures, made a statement that he was doing okay. And I believe today or yesterday he, this being Friday, it was earlier today that he was able to leave the hospital and will be recovering at home now after a good 9-10 days in the hospital, and most of that in the ICU.
Did you say what it was? Did you say like heart attack, stroke? What?
They still don't know.
They don't know.
I was watching the stream that that Ken was doing earlier today, and they still haven't figured out exactly what it is.
Yeah,
they think it's heart related, but we're not sure.
Yep.
Well,
the whole thing very serious.
Godspeed, good sir.
Exactly. And hopefully he recovers well. You know, his wife was able to be with him there most of the time. And because it was for a benefit, an Alzheimer's benefit, where he knew some people and they had people there that were able to support him, that people were able to, you know, be there right away. And yeah, just such a big thing. But I'm so happy to hear he's doing better and should make a full recovery. So thoughts with him.
Yeah,
good news.
He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I actually
you've met him.
Meet him May of 2023. He was at the local convention here, and he'll treat you like family. Like I was standing outside the door getting ready to let people in because I was volunteering, and he was walking by, and I chatted with him a little bit for the kickoff for the Alzheimer's fundraiser, and like he walked right over to me, gave me a hug, took some pictures with me, got me into his speech that he did. He took several pictures with me, signed stuff for me. I didn't ask him to do any of that. He just did it. Can't say enough good things about Wes. So glad that he's out now, recovering. He's able to speak, and hope he makes a full recovery. So.
In other news, we do have the community calendar. I just want to mention the exciting thing this weekend is Double Score Weekend. Woo-hoo! So if you are on the edge of rank 100, like myself and Andrew, and you want to get that cactus scratching post, or you want to, like me, finish it up. I actually want the doggy pile of leaves on the same level.
Yeah,
Doggy
that
pile of
sounds
leaves
pretty
looks
cool
good.
too. Oh, to watch the puppy roll around and that would just be pretty
Oh,
cool.
and you can build more than one thing. Like I've got the hole with the bone sticking out of it and the leaf pile, so you can build both. It's not one or
Yeah,
the
Do
other.
you get two
multiple
dogs?
animal accessories. No,
No,
just the one
unfortunately, you
dog.
can't do
Rip off.
because I
You
would
should be
I
able
would
to have it.
have the white shepherd in my camp as well, but I only have one.
You should be able to have at least a dog and a cat. That would be nice too, for sure. But yeah, so
See
it's
the
double
dog
score
chasing the cat around
weekend.
the yard.
Then we got double XP and Foshnok coming up again, starting around Valentine's. Foshnok starts just after
Oh,
Valentine's, so
nice.
that's what we're looking forward to in a couple of weeks.
I haven't done Fashnacht in a while, it feels like. We didn't have it like 6 times this past year. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the
Yep.
previous year we had it way
Only
too
twice.
much.
Yeah, that one year we had it seemed like a bunch of times it was only like 3, but then there was also the test server false start. You know, there was the test server and then there was the false start where they had to not do it and then bring it back again later. And yeah, so this
Oh.
year much more reasonable.
Okay.
No other big news. No other big news happening. The Atomic Shop is mostly retreads, although there is a pretty cool Nuka-Cola bundle. Okay, you guys. So this is a little just conspiracy theory stuff here, but if you have been paying attention to the Atomic Shop and you saw the Fallout First item that came out where we have the Nuka-Cola fountain lamp, and maybe you saw in the bundle that we had that classic Nuka-Cola machine, which, if you look closely, looks almost exactly like a Fallout 3 Nuka-Cola machine. So we've got a Fallout 3 Nuka-Cola machine retextured and rebuilt in 3D for the Fallout 76. You've got this fountain. This fountain, does it look familiar? Oh my God, if you travel to the Nuka-Cola factory in Fallout 3, this is the exact same fountain in the center room. Retextured and rebuilt for Fallout 76 and Fallout 4. Why would they be making these assets? Just for the Atomic Shop? Or is it for some hitherto unknown, fabled new remake of Fallout 3? Who knows?
You might be onto something.
I feel like this is evidence that, you know, they are doing stuff with it and it's bleeding over. Now maybe they're just reaching back to Fallout 3 and rebuilding for 76. The Atomic Shop does make them money, but I feel like they probably wouldn't do that unless they were going to use them again in something else. Just my thought.
Ain't gonna happen.
We will see. We will see. That is it for the Iguana Bits.
Alrighty. I just, for our shouts on our way out the door today, I just wanted to extend a very happy birthday over there to Kevin Collis, our good buddy. So happy birthday, Kevin. Hope you enjoy it very much. And Mo would like to give you a wish as well.
Scorecation!
Enjoy it. So any other topics anyone would like to bring up while we're on the show this evening? Then in that case, I'll send everyone over to Ian Gold 08 to check out Eric's stuff. Are you that on Blue Sky as well, sir?
Oh, yesterday was Stratoblaster's birthday.
Hey, Stratoblaster. I will also extend one to you.
Scorecation!
It's
Happy level up day.
Yeah.
There you go. That's even better. All right. How about a Monty Python one?
And there was much rejoicing.
There you go.
Wow.
Well, much rejoicing. Wow. All right. So in that case, Ian Gold 08, everywhere, and he has very many podcasts that I will let him tell you about right now. Eric, thanks so much for hopping on. Where can we find you?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. So the main two that I've got going on is Tapes from the Wastes and Starfield Sandwich. Yeah, both of those I do with my good buddy KDP. And I did dust off Nintendo recently with the announcement of this Switch 2. So whether or not people listen to that, who knows? Maybe I'll keep it going. Probably won't do another episode of that until we actually get the actual
real
reveal
announcement,
of this,
right?
the Switch 2. But yeah, it was fun dusting that off a little bit.
Great.
Since I'd also been playing my Switch a little bit more lately. So Yeah, and then I've got an Elder Scrolls show that I haven't done in over a year, so
Dormant and resurrected podcasts. All right. Thanks so much for hopping on.
yeah, thank you.
And Jess can be found at Sleep is 4T for all of the news on her various shows as well. And Jess and Eric and Ray can all be found in our Discord. So hop in there if you'd like to hang out with those folks. Jess, thanks so much for hopping on.
Thank you.
Ray is at Ray LB, and his No Man's Sky show is at BBC ISSS. Ray, thanks so much for hopping on tonight.
Good times.
I can be found in our Facebook group, of the show is at the Fallout Feed. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of the Fallout Feed, and we will see you in the Wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
Definitely been loving on that.
God, here comes trouble. So there's a bit of a tete-a-tete. Verifying integrity. I think we should